So here I am. This is the R1250 GS Rally X. It's pretty much like the GS Adventure. It's got the, the long travel suspension, but it doesn't have the big tank, right? And there are a few other bits it doesn't have, but pretty close. And you might be thinking, I just bought this a 2023 model. What are you? You're crazy. Why didn't you wait for the 1300 GS? Well, let's talk about it. I'm going to tell you why you should buy the 1250 GS over the 1300 GS. Let's do it. So in this video, we're going to talk about why you should buy the R1250 GS over the 1300 GS. I mean, the reviews will be coming soon. You might say, wow, you haven't even ridden the bike. What are you talking about? But I think it's pretty safe to say every reviewer is going to go, oh, it's so much better. It handles better. It's lighter. It's got more power. The brakes are better. This is better. That is better. 100% the reviewers are going to just gush over it. But here's the deal. You have a Ducati Multistrada, which is all those things. Better, faster, sportier, this, that. But still today, even though the Ducati is better in those areas, people would still say the 1250 GS is better and would choose that over a Multistrada. And I've got no doubt in isolation that 1300 is going to be an awesome machine. But just like the picture I throw up here, when they went from the classic Land Rover Defender to the new Defender, yeah, the new Defender's better in all those ways, but if you had the choice, you'd buy the old one, right? The 1200 and the 1250 GS is going to be peak GS. Go watch the video with Harry's Farm or Clarkson where they talk about the Range Rover, 2008 Range Rover. It was peak Range Rover. Best car in the world, Jeremy Clarkson said. Would choose it over the new ones, no problem, any day. I think the 1200, 1250 GSs are going to be peak GS. And I just think this is going to be the case. I think we go back in history, and when you remember the GS, I think this sort of shape from the 2013 to the current, 2023, the latest, before we went to the 1300 GS, is just going to be the golden GS era, especially the last two models, 1200 and 1250. That is going to be the golden age, the halcyon days, the peak GS, in my opinion. Now, I have gone through all the forums, I've read all the comments, I made a video saying the 1300 GS was trash. Well, I was, saying a lot of people were saying that. I've read all the comments. And there's one reason that I sort of don't agree with that I'll talk about later that everybody's going on about. But let me tell you now why you should buy the 1250 GS over the 1300. Now, the first reason that comes to mind to me is it's just lost its presence. Now, this may perform better, faster, sportier, all this sort of stuff, but the Boxer motor isn't this highly strung sports motor. It just likes chugging along. So the way most people ride their GS, the new one ain't gonna make that much difference. And you heard from the designer saying, we don't want to make bigger bikes, we want to make them less complicated, strip them back, make them more compact, all this. Well, there's the problem, right? Basically, they're saying, bye-bye big boomer. We're trying to make this GS more accessible, less intimidating. Even though once you ride a GS, it's not intimidating, it looks intimidating. But they're also going for a younger market. You see, because the GS is the BMW's most important bike. The big Boxer GS I'm talking about. And currently, as it stands, they sell, over 60,000 GSs a year. That's adventure and normal GSs. Ducati sell around 10,000 Multistradas, so it's 6-to-1 sort of ratio. 6 GSs sell to 1 Multistrada. I think by the end of the year, the Desert X might be Ducati's best-selling bike as well. So if you add those sales along with the Multistrada, these bikes are starting to eat into the GS market. And I'll stick up some demographics, alright? I made a video about the Multistrada. I made a video about the GS. And what you can see is the difference in the demographics. You can basically say the boomers are more interested in the GS and the Generation X and Y are more interested in the Multistrada. This is why the 1300 GS is what it is. Sleeker, sportier, more compact, less intimidating, trying to appeal to that younger market. Because the reality is, boomers are retiring. They're stopping riding. They're getting older. They're not buying as many bikes as they used to. And that younger generation, the Generation X and Y, they're more interested in the faster Multistrada and bikes like that, the Desert X. So BMW had to try and appeal to that market. So the result is, no matter how good this 1300 GS is, it's lost its soul. Just like the new Land Rover Defender has lost its soul, so has the new GS. It just does not have that presence. It's not imperious. And it's lost that intimidation. Like, you look at a GS and you go, whoa, that's way too big. That's intimidating. I can't ride that thing. You ride it, it's easy to ride, right? The new one's not like that. That looks friendly. doesn't have the presence, it's not as imperious. When you ride the GS or the GS Adventure, you feel like the Emperor Nero riding in on his chariot. The new GS, you feel like you're sort of like on a Suzuki V-Storm / Multistrada halfway house, sort of more feminine, sporty looking bike rather than the masculine, tough, look of the, previous GS. So I think that's the first reason. Second reason, obviously price, right? I picked up a GS Adventure for cheaper than what you could actually pick up a second-hand one. Yeah, that's how cheap I got the GS Adventure, like the half-year sales. That one got totaled, and I could have replaced it with a GS Adventure, but I chose to go with the normal GS. It was the same sort of price because I got a different spec. That's a video for another day, so subscribe for that. Did I make the right choice going to the normal GS, or should I have stuck with the GS Adventure? But I picked up that GS for cheaper than what you can buy it second hand. I'm talking about savings of like 6,000-7,000 from about 5,000, 5,000 US or 3,000-4,000 pounds. That's the savings you're going to get. And in reality, for the way you ride a GS, I'm sure the new one's going to be more dynamic if you take it to a racetrack or you hit the twisties or the canyons. But that's only going to make sense if you're riding solo with nothing on the bike. The way most people ride their GS is loaded up. So all that sort of goes out the window, and the way you ride a GS, all those benefits you get with the new lighter, more dynamic GS, they're irrelevant when you load it up with a pillion or, load it up with luggage and stuff, because you're not going to be riding like that. So why would you spend that much more money when you're going to be riding just cruising around and you're going to get sort of no benefit having the 1300 over the 1250 GS? Now, the last reason you buy the 1250 GS over the 1300 is the most popular comment I've heard in all the forums and that you're not going to buy the first 1300 GSs because they're going to be faulty, they're going to have all these problems, etc, etc. Now, this one I don't agree with, but a lot of people are saying it. Although I do think there will be teething problems, and if you buy the first model, there's probably going to be things on that bike that will be changed within the first 2 years because, they've found problems with that bike. But if you look at all the most recent launches, like the latest Tiger, the latest Multistrada, the latest KTM, from when they first come out, honestly, there's not that much gone wrong with them. Few electrical gremlins, things here or there, but nothing major. And I don't expect this 1300 GS to have anything major wrong with it. Sure, things will change. They'll find out how to do things a little bit better. But I don't think there's going to be some showstopper thing where, you bought the first one, you bought a trash model and, the next model is going to be completely redesigned. No, there's going to be, small things, electrical things, obviously, maybe a component here or there, they'll have to change out. But most of that stuff will be covered by warranty. You got a 5-year warranty. What are you worried about? That one, I don't agree with. But tell me in the comments, what would you do? I honestly think right here, right now, even if you offered both of these bikes to someone for free, just like you'd rather choose an old Defender over the new Defender, I think a lot of people would just get the 1250 GS. Even if they were both offered for free, which one do you want? A lot of people would take the 1250 GS. I think that is true. So what do you think? I'll catch you in the next one. Tally ho. Mate, you know how close this is to the city? And it's like I'm in the bloody sticks. Unbelievable. It's like I'm in the sticks. You get a good view when you stand up on these things. I'll give it a tip. Yeah, I might put this in Enduro because it feels like I'm bouncing around everywhere here because I'm in road mode. So pretty cool. Dirt tracks around here. So close to the city. So close to civilization. Yet so far away. Where am I going here? Navigation. Tell me where I'm going. This is Doherty's Road. Now if you know what Doherty's Road is, it's a friggin' busy road, but this is the arse end of it. The bush bash version of it. I like standing up. These pegs are amazing on this. It just tells you, I mean, it just explains. I mean, when you have big pegs, now you know what everybody's talking about when they're talking about, oh, the pegs aren't good. When you got good pegs that you can stand on so easily, oh man, it makes a world of difference. It makes a world of difference. Cars are bottoming out there. Obviously people doing jumps. Probably put this windscreen down. Oh, Jesus. Is that a give way there? What's going on? I do not like T intersections or cross intersections in the middle of nowhere, because but it won't be too long until we reach civilization. But yeah, sorry I didn't get the off-road bit. I don't want to go too hardcore off-road until I sort of know what I'm doing with this. I'm going to get some protection on the bike. Still running it in. I'll wait for my 1000 Ks, and then after that it's going to be party time. They blocked off the river crossing. I'm so disappointed. Now we're getting into civilization, and what the hell? I don't want to call anyone, but what the hell is this? Indian place. Some Indian place.